Hello Internet, my name is Brink and welcome back to the channel. With midnight around the corner, it is time to kick off a brand new series. One that's meant to feel a bit like catching up with an old friend who just really loves World of Warcraft. In these videos, I'm going to give you my first impressions of every tank class and its playstyle, and hopefully spark your curiosity and mine for playing them in the next expansion. My goal with this channel has always been to help out players who are thinking about stepping into the world of tanking. Whether you're a veteran or someone fresh who's considering a tank class in Midnight, you have come to the right spot. With all the big changes coming in Midnight, now feels like the perfect time to take a closer look at these reworked tanks. What makes them exciting and what might be a bit underwhelming in the next expansion. So here's the plan. This series will explore each tank class through a fresh first impression lens. It's not a deep dive or a patch note discussion, just my humble opinion on how each spec feels to play. Again, I won't go line by line through every single change, but I'll spotlight the ones that I think are cool enough to talk about. Changes that shape your playstyle, or synergies that make you smile. So please, don't be offended by this video, as this will be highly opinion based and you might have a complete other idea of what is fun. If that's the case, let me know in the comments below and tell us what you are enjoying the most. In this first episode, we're turning our attention to the Vengeance Demon Hunter. I wanted to kick off with the VDH, as I'm excited to see what has changed. And I expect this video to be the longest of the series, because this spec has a completely new hero tree, renamed and reimagined, with a new void themed playstyle that could reshape its identity. So I'm really curious, does the playstyle still feel like a Vengeance Demon Hunter, or has Blizzard cooked something really amazing? Let's dive straight in. We all knew something needed to change, as the Vengeance Demon Hunter was somewhat problematic. It has been S tier many times last seasons and prior expansions. I can just imagine seeing Blizzard devs scratching their head. How do we fix this strong kit without killing it? How do we tune this spec that stacks packs of mobs and locks them down for a long time with crowd control and silences? Well, tuning didn't help, so they had to bring out the big guns. So the first thing you will notice is, where are all my sigils? Not just my sigils, but also my double sigils. As you see on my bar, I currently have 3 sigils. I mean, it looks like I got 6, but I macro my sigils. Want to place them at my feet, where they usually go 90% of the time, and the others if I want to place them somewhere else. So no, these are not our double sigils. The double amount of sigils are gone, but we still have one of my favorites, and that is Sigil of Change. This pulls in the mobs to its location, and it's on a 1-minute cooldown. To take this, your Sigil of Misery gets replaced. So that's one gone, but also Sigil of Silence has been removed from the class tree, and Sigil of Spite has been moved to the Vengeance spec tree. So this leaves you with Sigil of Flame, Spite and Change. And if I'm honest, I'm all for these changes. Let's see what they've done with it so far. They have gained a cool talent I would like to talk about. It's called First In, First Out. You see it here on the right side of the class talent tree, which could be considered as the Vengeance side of this talent tree. So what it does is, it grants you a shield after you use your leap, Infernal Strike. This is actually super cool, because you wouldn't be the first tank to leap in courageously to die in the first seconds of the pull, just because your defensives weren't up yet. This synergizes really well with Felfire Fist. This will place a Sigil of Flame at your targeted location. So basically, you leap in, gain a shield, and instantaneously do damage to get initial threat on your pack. I really like these changes for the obvious reasons. The only thing you have to do after you land is pop your defensive demon spikes to make sure you keep staying tanky. And here's where your next talent comes in. With this next talent, Retaliation, it will seal the deal with pulling threat on the mobs. To me, this is what Vengeance has always been. You always did multiple things at once, mostly offensive and defensive. But this is pretty cool too, and I reckon really necessary. So you leap in, gain a shield, pop an offensive sigil, just by pressing one button. Then you pop your defensives and gain even more threat on the mobs around you. And you might think this isn't a big deal. Well, with the new direction Blizzard is taking World of Warcraft, and in particular tanking, you will notice that getting threat has become a bigger responsibility and more of a challenge with the new UI. It's harder to see if you got threat on all the mobs, and it might actually be harder than you think. So with that in mind, I reckon these changes are a welcome change, and will make it a lot easier for a new tank to pick up this class. Now Spirit Bomb has also been reworked. It is now a cooldown ability, on a 21-second cooldown, and it has some good synergies with the brand new hero talents, Annihilator. So with Spirit Bomb also comes the new talent Frailty. That makes it so that these abilities that cause frailty will heal you for the currently 60% of all the damage you do. And the only thing you have to do to activate this is to strike an enemy with Sigil of Flames, Soul Cleave or Spirit Bomb. And yes, this works with the same Sigil of Flames that pops off automatically after you leap in. You know, the one you don't even need to press. So yes, we're off to a good start. Now when looking at the new hero talent tree, Annihilator, there's a lot to unpack. So it all starts with Voidfall. As we probably all know, the Demon Hunter has gotten a new DPS spec, the Devourer, which harnesses the power of the Void. So seeing that this hero talent tree is shared with Vengeance, we get some of that Void flavor into our tank spec. So basically your main rotation is still Fracture to gain lesser soul fragments, and Soul Cleave to consume them. But Fracture has 2 charges, and now it also grants a stack of Voidfall. When gaining 3 stacks of Voidfall, you can consume them once again, by just using Soul Cleave, just as you would do in your normal rotation to get soul fragments. Now it will add a new damaging effect, a Meteor Strike, with a soft cap at 8 enemies. I mean, pretty cool if you ask me. There's almost no reason to check out the Aldrachi Reaver anymore. That's how cool it is. So can they make this any cooler? Let's check it out. Without looking at the nitty gritty, there's some buffs and modifiers there, but let's check out the last one, because this last talent is called World Killer. I mean, that sounds pretty dope. Every third Meteor Strike is bigger, does more damage, and it lowers your cooldown on meta for 10 seconds. That is pretty sick, and honestly, it's going to be so much fun to play. With Metamorphosis on a 2-minute cooldown, I'm expected you'll be able to lower it to at least 1.5 minutes. So hold up, let's get a clear picture of what's really happening. Let's just take a small step back and put these ducks in a row. You leap in, you get a shield while doing so, do an automated Sigil of Flame, you pop your defensive spikes, that makes you tanky and provides you with more initial threat, you start doing your rotation with Fracture, and straight in start building your meteor stacks, that you can decide when to call down just by pressing Soul Cleave. I mean, what's not to love? This sounds like fun core gameplay if you ask me. Okay, what if you like the defensive synergies with your offensive playstyle more? Well, I think Blizzard does have that covered. Take a look at the talent Soul Barrier, shielding you for each soul fragment consumed for a massive amount. I mean, that is the classic doing offensive damage and getting defensive back. And then you get 3 Apex talents that Blizzard promised that would be so cool you wouldn't want to pass on. You can spend 4 points in your talent tree if you like, or put them in the Apex. So what are these Apex talents? Untethered Rage gives the Metamorphosis ability a chance to be cast without its cooldown being consumed, just by using Soul Cleave or Spirit Bomb. So it doesn't pop meta automatically. You have the ability to cast it yourself without it using its cooldown. The second part just makes it stronger. And the last bit is really cool. I would call it bad luck protection. What it does is, it makes you stronger if it didn't proc and increases the chance to proc the longer it takes. Now I do want to check out the Aldrachi Reaver for those who don't like meteors. But if I'm honest, I think I already know what hero talents I will be playing when playing the Vengeance Demon Hunter. The Aldrachi Reaver hasn't changed that much, so don't expect this chapter to take as long as the prior one. With Midnight, every spec got new hero talents added. It basically got expanded with 3 talents, and these are worth looking at. The first one is Broken Spirit. This increases soul fragment generation by having Sigil of Spite shatter an additional fragment, and giving Soul Cleave a 20% chance to shatter a soul. Keen Edge boosts the damage of your Reaver's Glaive by 20% and other physical damage by 10%. Warblade just buffs your Fracture a little. And Bladecraft allows Reaver's Mark to stack up to 3 times and empowers Fracture when cast after Soul Cleave by applying an additional stack. It also empowers Fracture when you finish a Reaver's Glaive combo with Fracture, and empowers Soul Cleave when you finish a combo with Soul Cleave, resulting in 12 slashes instead of 6. So how do these talents affect your build? You basically have improved fragment economy. Broken Spirits make it easier to generate the soul fragments needed for abilities like Soul Cleave. Keen Edge and the tier set bonus makes the build stronger by increasing the damage of your main attacks. And you have new combo opportunities as Bladecraft empowers abilities that are used in the correct sequence, such as using Fracture after Soul Cleave. Now the cool thing is that the new talents and tier set bonuses are designed to work together, creating a powerful synergy that makes the Aldrachi Reaver build more viable in Midnight, and hopefully competitive enough compared to all the insane meteors you have when playing Annihilator. So what is an important change to be aware of is the removing of the hunt, and this changed the hero talent Art of the Glaive. Art of the Glaive is now granted by casting Sigil of Spite. This used to be the hunt. I reckon this is a good change. Just think about it. When using the hunt, you would fly into the pack, which then activated Art of the Glaive, making you throw the glaive while you face planted into the pack already. Now you can use Sigil of Spite from a distance and gain access to Art of the Glaive and throw your glaive from the same distance. Sounds cool, right? So in my opinion, this spec can be played in 2 ways. You either don't know what you're doing, and most of the time you're doing your combos anyway, or you do know what you're doing and you're consciously making your combo decisions when to use what combo. You're going for the additional slashes or for the additional damage from the stacks of Reaver's Mark. You decide what is the better option here. And of course you have access to the same Apex talents. untethered rage, fueled by the same abilities Soul Cleave and Spirit Bomb. You also have access to all the good stuff I mentioned earlier, Felfire Fist for your opener or Soul Barrier for that extra shield. And then last but not least, an honorable mention to Feed the Demon. Previously, Feed the Demon reduced the cooldown of demon spikes whenever you consumed soul fragments, but at midnight it's been redesigned to lower the cooldown by 1 second for every 20 fury you spend. The expected result is that Feed the Demon now gives you more consistent and predictable demon spike uptime. Instead of relying on soul fragments that procced off your abilities, now it comes from fury spent, giving you a smoother rotation and uptime overall. And there you have it. That wraps up my first impression of the Vengeance Demon Hunter. Midnight is still a few months away, so there's always a chance Blizzard tweaks a few things before launch. I'm not expecting massive changes, but it's worth keeping the door open, just in case. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel to grow, and I've got more first impressions and future tank guides coming your way as we get closer to the new expansion. And with that, I'm off. I really have to go now, because even in real life, I somehow end up tanking things I don't mean to pull. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Brinks out.